Hello, Taurus. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. All right, Taurus, we're starting with the Star card. One of, my favorites and most beautiful cards, definitely. This one speaks to our true will, our true purpose, our dreams, our goals, our desires, our motivators, our driving forces. And so when we begin the reading, when we walk into a reading, if you could think of the reading as being like a room, right? When we open this door and we walk in and we have the energy of the star, what does that look like? What would that room look like to you? Tell me in the comments. I think of something like maybe like a light purple with like a blue kind of light, maybe a blue light. And I think of the feeling of seeing something that you've never seen before. Something beautiful, but you don't know what it is. Something that you're drawn to. Maybe it's just like a little glowing speck in the corner on the floor, and you're drawn to it, and you go and you look and you look and you get on your hands and knees and you look closer, and you can't see exactly what it is, but you know it's something. You know there's some form to it. And suddenly it's on the ceiling. And you follow it there, and you're looking, and you're looking, and you're finding something to stand on, and crawling up there and looking closer. You have your phone out, you're trying to magnify the thing. And it moves again. And this time it's a different color, and this time it looks a little bit bigger. And you follow it, and you go to look, and you look, and you look, and every time you look at it, you can't really see exactly. Maybe it's changing even right in front of you. But you know this is why you're here. This is why you entered this room. There's no other reason, and that becomes very clear to you. And so the Star card, we know that you are focused. We know that you are maybe refocusing. Maybe you're coming out of, a little dalliance, a little stroll that took you off course. Okay, so we knocked 3 times. Not very polite today, but what the heck are you going to do? And I want to say thank you for clicking on the reading. It's so nice to see you. It's so nice to feel you. It is my great honor to do so. Now, if you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. The liking definitely helps the channel. It gets us more into the recommends and all of that. So, I appreciate those who do it, and I appreciate everybody. I mean, let's face it. Sometimes I don't be liking either. I forget. Or it just like plays, it auto plays into a video, and I'm not near my phone. So I get it. But if you do have, let's see. You know what I'm interested in? What were your favorite fall, winter dishes when you were a kid? What were your comfort foods? What were the things that, like, you went to school and you knew, like, dad or mom was going to be making this special meal, and, you couldn't wait to get home and smell the smells and sit at the table with everybody and eat, right? What was that? What was the thing that really just stands out to you about your childhood food, meal? What kind of, and I'm trying to think. For me, I guess it's something, we always called them pitishkis because we totally like slaughtered the pronunciation of things. We also called my baba, which is my grandmother, she always called herself Yugoslavian, but Serbian. And she would make these, well, my grandmother, actually, my Baba was actually my great-grandmother, and my grandmother, she would make an old recipe, right, that they brought over, and it's basically just, they're like pierogies, but they're a little different, the bread is different, and you just fry up some, like, ground beef. And some people like to use ground pork. We don't really eat pork a lot. But ground beef, onions, and cabbage. And that's it. And then you put it in the bread, right? And some people bake them. That's probably more healthy. But we shallow fried them. And I still make these myself. But that is one food that takes me back to being a kid. Period. We always had them for Easter. That was the big, you had to have them on Easter. So, let's get started. We have what looks like a kind of frowny person over here. Their eyes, nose, mouth down. Almost kind of looks like they have a flat top kind of haircut maybe. So I'm guessing kind of maybe a masculine person. Down here we have a person who is holding a snake. Okay, so we have a revealer, somebody who is bringing some kind of truth or giving information, maybe something that you didn't know you wanted. We also have the number 2602, 2602. We have the number 22 over here, 22. We have a bow and arrow. So I almost kind of feel like there was a situation. It feels like this is around love. I'm going to set this here. I just want to pull like 2 cards. I'm going to put you over here. Oops, sorry. Schwizzard. Okay, so I just want to pull 2. Intuition, revenge. Okay. That's kind of, yes. Okay, so I feel like at some point there was maybe kind of a situation where there were 2 people that maybe you were courting, or maybe like, I don't know, you were with somebody and you were breaking up, or it just got to a point where things weren't working. You met somebody else, you fell in love. But it feels like there's a decision between 2 people. But here's the deal, is that I feel like you didn't fully know either of them, like, deeply. So I don't think you were in a long-term relationship with one of them. I feel like this is kind of like, almost like when you're younger, and you're dating and you, like, start to really, like, narrow it down, and there's like 2 dudes that you really were into, or, enough. How old are we talking? 20 years old, however much you can be into somebody at 20, like, significantly into them. I do feel like, so you choose a person, you choose one of them, but I think it's like you lament this choice, because I think as you have gotten to know them, there is a sense of really seeing them for who they are, which of course that happens in relationships, right? Especially, which dating always trips me out. I've never like really dated a lot or anything, but the concept of putting forth like your best image to somebody, like your best persona, your best mask or whatever. And then dwelling in that as much as you can while you're getting to know each other, and then you become committed, and over time, then, you know, of course, we can't always be on. We can't always, you know, be masking, basically. And then, yeah, all of a sudden, like, they start to see, like, you know, obviously we all have things, and for the most part, right? Well, those will start to come out, and that's fine, whatever, you know, that's what it is to be in a relationship and to live with somebody, especially. But sometimes, man, you start to get to know somebody, and it's like, yo, ho, ho, who is this? You know what I mean? Like, who was that other person that I was dating or getting to know for all these months? You know, I was going to say years. If you're like me, I will sometimes take years of courting. But yeah, I just feel like it's like something. And what is it? Because it just feels like they have become such a, like, emotionally unavailable, just like detached and angry, upset. Angry, upset all the time. Detached. I think out of step with, like, the family in general, right? Kind of maybe in their own world. I don't know, you know, I don't know exactly what's going on with them. If it's like they just, like, are avoidant, they just kind of go into themselves, they get, you know, whatever, just grouchy all the time. I feel like, though, here's the difference between any other period of time that you've gone through this with them, is that I feel like you just kind of don't care at this point. You have had to get used to, like, just doing things, probably with your kids or your grandkids or, you know, whatever, by yourself, right? Because you don't, you know, you can't trust that your person is always going to show up, because they go through these, like, very pronounced cycles of, you know, whatever, being completely isolated from you, to maybe being hyper connected, to being very judgmental or picky or nagging or, you know, whatever. And then it's like the cycle continues to kind of, they're really there, and then they're really not. They're really there, then, you know. And so I think for you, it's just kind of like a, I'm not waiting around anymore. Like, I have stuff to do. I have a life. I gotta do things. I gotta, you know, keep it moving. So here's the deal. I feel like there seems to be something going on where this is very clear to you, and I wonder if it's because the other person kind of has come back around, or, you know, maybe they, like, you haven't talked in years and they sent you, like, a friend's request, or, you know, whatever. Maybe you haven't even spoken to them. It's just they, you know, are kind of in your orbit. You've been thinking about them a little bit. Now, I just want to forewarn you that this is much of the same, okay? I feel like, you know, that this person, I don't know, for whatever reason, and it could have been like this, you know, you rejected them 20 years ago and went with the other person, and they still hold some resentment. There is a sense of revenge with this person. That's what I'm trying to get to. Now, I don't think it's anything crazy or big, but I do feel like this is somebody who was hurt enough that they still maybe would be hurtful to you on purpose, intentionally, okay? So I want you to understand that if you are thinking about maybe getting in touch with them, or maybe you, like, maybe you're going to see if maybe this is going to be the thing, you know? Maybe you're already divorced from the other person. Maybe you're separated, or you're thinking about it, and this might be like that last push you need. But please be careful in this situation, because I don't think this person is, I don't think they've had some pain, right? They've had some hard things go on. And I think there's a lot of like vitriol that they are hiding, not just for you, just in general. Okay. Again, we have, let's see, the number 2. And we have Saturn. You can see this masculine figure here holding a child near the mouth, like near their mouth. So to me, this is like that energy of the devourer, the emperor that cannot even begin to think about their power being taken. We also have what looks like some kind of cat. Here are the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and the little stripes. We have a person here sitting on a horse. We have, it looks like also maybe 2 sisters or 2 feminine beings in your life. And I feel like there is going to be some travel with them. We have them down here. So this feels like the reprieve that you need. This is where a lot of strength is going to be restored. But I do feel like for some reason, the father wound is really coming up for you lately. And maybe this is the father that really like belittled you or made you feel small, or, out of love, really... And I'm saying out of love because I feel like, now this is where it gets tricky, because I don't want to profess any of my own beliefs on this part. But I think that so often parents will not know exactly how to approach something. And so when you have, and I'm assuming this is a father-daughter dynamic. It could be father-son as well if you, were somebody's son at some point. But I feel like it's almost kind of this trying to be a great father, trying to do the right thing, but mimicking an ill society. Okay, if that makes sense. Like getting your advice from sick people, right? And I don't mean like sick people. I mean like that energy of, like a father that is so overprotective and maybe a bit traditional, maybe kind of, conservative or whatever. It doesn't have to be like, I'm not talking political. I just mean like, I'm trying to get around to like maybe like the way you dressed or, something like this, and trying to keep a tight control where that was probably fairly detrimental. It came from a place of love and wanting you to be safe. Okay. That's not to say that, people, I don't know. I don't know what to say about it, because now I have a daughter, and how I have always felt about like wear whatever you want, dress however you want, act however you want, everybody be free. I don't know that I feel like that anymore. And I don't know. I'm trying to come to terms with like where I stand. You know what I'm saying? I stick very much to the, the rule of things being weather appropriate, right? So, and it's hard. If you have kids, and like especially little girls, if you have gone clothes shopping and some of the outfits just don't make sense. Like low-rise, like bell-bottoms and, like a cut-off half shirt or whatever for like a 4-year-old. Which, whatever. I mean, if you want to dress them up like little adults, I mean, that's whatever. I'm not going to judge that. I let my daughter dress up in all kinds of, whatever stuff. She likes to be princesses. She likes to be ninjas. She likes to, be army people, whatever. So it's just a hard place to navigate, right? But here's the deal. I feel like there was an energy of oppressiveness, okay? If that came from a place of love or not, it doesn't really matter. I think it really left an effect on you, okay? Which is always strange when these kind of things, especially with our parents, like we can have really crazy bad relationships with our parents and still want their love and still want their acceptance, even if we know as adults logically, like, it wasn't my fault, I was a kid, they should have done better, and yet I still am looking for your approval. Like, it doesn't, you know what I mean? So I feel like for you, there is this work that is being done or needs to be done, or you're in it. I feel like you're already kind of in it, and this might be that you are noticing, a theme in your relationships, the types of people that you kind of end up with. It could be that, like, maybe, you raised your own kids and now you have like some grandsons and you have enough room from being in like the thick of parenting to like step back and kind of consider these deeper, things and implications and all of that. Whatever it is, I do feel like this is on your mind a lot. Now, I don't necessarily feel like there's a lot of like anguish around this or anything, but I feel like it's almost kind of like one of those situations where you didn't necessarily ever consider this to be something that was maybe an issue with you, but then like when you really like look back at the thing, you're like, oh man, that was maybe something I need to process through. I have these kinds of revelations once in a while, where it's like my life was so like insanely chaotic with neglect and abuse and my parents, addictions and things that, a lot of stuff that was like not bad or dangerous, or people treated me poorly, or especially older men when I was a, teenager. I got a lot of attention from creepy men, basically. And I never, I thought, whatever, that's what happens with women. We all go through it, right? But then you're older. I'm, 40. I look back now and I have a kid, and I started to realize like some of this stuff was like not only illegal, but it was, it was abuse. But it didn't feel like it because I had come from a background that was way worse. Intensely worse, like going from being in the, in theater, war theater, to like, coming home and then like somebody like, says something like whatever. There's a small conflict, a little argument over traffic or something. That feels minimal compared to where you just came from, right? But doesn't mean that it's not still somewhat traumatic somewhere, right? So I feel like and this is tough when it's the parents' things, right? When we get into that mother wound, that father wound, that can get real tough. But I feel that, for you, there's been this realization, and I think that you're very resolved to look at this thing, to figure out like, what can I do? Because this has been a blockage, this has been something that has caused some issues for you, and probably parts of your life that are obvious, but also parts of your life that, you wouldn't necessarily think like, oh, this is going to come up here. Like, I don't know, like when somebody says something to you in a certain way, like you're at work and your boss tells you something, it sounded like your dad, you didn't even realize it, and like now you're in the car crying, you know what I mean? Like, and then it's like, okay, I gotta figure this thing out. So I do feel with the cat, there is a real movement towards maybe being a bit more independent, maybe going into yourself a little bit, maybe doing some solo stuff, and putting yourself like first as a priority. I think that's a big thing too. Okay. Now I'm going to turn this thing. We have the number 3030. We have a snake. We have a house again. So to me, oh, and a bike. Nice. So to me, I keep feeling like there is this draw towards like reestablishing maybe like some stability in the home. Maybe things have felt a little off. Maybe, you know, you wake up and you just kind of sigh, I don't even want to get out of bed today. There's so much to do. There's, you know, whatever, maybe a misalignment within the family. You know, you're just tired. You're worn out, you know. And so I do feel like in this next period of time, as you are kind of naturally just kind of going into that hermit mode, taking some time to really like find something in your life that brings you a little bit of joy, or at least like helps you stop thinking about stuff over and over, going through those mental loops, obsessing over, you know, an argument or something that happened at work, or, you know, whatever. And let's see. And yeah, I feel like that's where you're going to find your healing more than anywhere else, is just in letting your mind kind of rest, right? Doing the contemplation, doing the processing, but letting your mind rest. Okay. Now, we're going to do our lucky numbers. We have number 93 as our first one. Number 44. Number 44. Number 63. Okay. And we're going to finish with our Cincy Child affirmation cards. And I'm just going to flip through. And we'll stop where it feels right. It says, I am authentic with my words and actions. I keep saying that. That's been my thing lately, is the mean what you say what you mean. Come on now. Nobody has time for anything else these days, right? All right. Well, Taurus, I want to tell you I love you, because I do. And I thank you so much for being here with me. If you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I'd love to hear from you. Other than that, I want to say again, I love you. Take care of yourself, and we will talk soon.